Good morning, everyone. I'm Lieutenant Tina Jones, a Public Information Officer with the Portland Police Bureau. Thank you for being here today. We are very excited to get the opportunity to have you meet Chief Jami Resch and ask some questions. We will begin with some opening remarks by Mayor Ted Wheeler, followed by Chief Jami Resch, then end with questions and answers. During the question and answer segment, we ask that you please introduce yourself and share the outlet you represent. Now I am pleased to introduce Mayor Ted Wheeler.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. Welcome on Monday morning. This is not only the first Monday morning of the year, this is also the first Monday morning of the decade. This is also the first opportunity some of you will have had to have exposure to Chief Jami Resch. She's my pick to lead the Portland Police Bureau after the departure of former Chief Danielle Outlaw. I wish Chief Outlaw all the best in her new position in the city of Philadelphia, and I thank her for her leadership in the city of Portland in her capacity as the former chief. Moving forward now, it's vitally important that the Police Bureau keeps up the momentum and the great work and the progress that's been taking place within the Bureau. And I know that Chief Resch is the right person to continue to drive that momentum. I've had the opportunity over the last year or so to work closely with Chief Resch in her capacity as the Deputy Chief of Police. And because of the relationship that I've developed with her over that time, I'm confident that she will bring strong and effective leadership skills, broad knowledge of the Bureau, and deeply rooted ties to the Portland community. We're so fortunate to have somebody with her experience level stepping in and seamlessly continuing the great work that's already taking place within the Portland Police Bureau. I know that some of you want to know, why did I pick Chief Resch? Here's just a few of the reasons. She is a highly trusted and well-known and well-respected individual within the Bureau, and she's risen through the ranks over the course of more than 20 years. She's also well-respected and trusted within the community, where she's known for proactive and positive, strong relationships, especially amongst vulnerable populations in Portland. As a member of the executive team within the Bureau over the last 2 years, she's been a visionary and integral part of the recent improvements that have taken place at the Portland Police Bureau. Her leadership has been and continues to be a highly instrumental factor in bringing the Portland Police Bureau into substantial compliance with the Department of Justice settlement agreement. She's already immersed in and will continue to play an integral role in the upcoming Portland Police Association contract negotiations, policy work sessions, which are already scheduled with the Portland City Council, and budget discussions, which are already underway. I also appointed Chief Resch because I know she knows my priorities and my agenda and my vision as the police commissioner. She's on board with my commitment to make the Police Bureau strong, effective, and accountable to the public which it serves. She's devoted her entire police career to the Portland community, and I truly look forward to working alongside her as she continues her dedicated public service as Portland's next police chief. With that, I'd like to introduce Chief Jami Resch.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning and Happy New Year. First, let me start with a thank you. I know that many members of the media asked to meet with me week before last, just after my appointment to Chief. And as you can imagine, it was a very busy week and a holiday, and we couldn't make that happen. So I thank you for your patience then and your continued patience. Many people have already asked what it was like when Mayor Wheeler asked me to become chief. And while I can say when I got sworn in 20 years ago, I did not anticipate this as I have moved throughout my career, and especially in my recent appointment as deputy chief. It's always something that you prepare for and that I was very honored to be asked to do, and I'm very honored to serve the citizens of Portland. I'm also honored to work with the men and women that make up the Portland Police Bureau. I can say that I'm deeply humbled to accept this opportunity, and I will do everything I can to promote positively the Portland Police Bureau. I have been overwhelmed by the appreciation and support of kindness I receive not only from within the Bureau, but from the community themselves. And I want to take a moment to especially thank the people who anonymously sent me letters and cards. While I can't respond to you because you sent them anonymously, I want you to make sure that you know I read them, I appreciated them, and I will do everything I can to try to make you proud of the Portland Police Bureau. As a member of the executive team for the last 2 years, I have played a role in setting the vision and goals for this organization, and therefore I pledge to continue to support all of the great work that is already being done. I plan to continue the commitment to ever improving PPB and our relationships within the community. Now is the time to continue the momentum. It is not the time to remain status quo or veer in a different direction. I'm excited to lead an organization that has such dedicated individuals doing this work, both our sworn and our professional staff, whose willingness to be innovative, collaborative, and embrace the complexity of modern policing is something that I'm also proud of. Police work is never finished, and I'm not saying that all of the calls are taken and the reports are written. I mean it's ever evolving. The tools and tactics that we use are continually changing and improving. The laws and policies are changing, as well as community expectations, and PPB will continue to adapt to all of these things and continue to be a leader in policing. Now I'm going to try and answer a few questions that I just assumed that you were already going to ask. So first, we had 7 shootings over New Year's Eve, and that is unacceptable. Our gun violence reduction team has responded to each of these, and they are investigating these. These are not crimes that are solved in a minute. While there may not have been any arrests yet, these cases take intense, thoughtful, coordinated approaches, and I have every confidence in every single one of our investigators investigating these cases. Our team is also working towards preventing any retaliatory violence that we may see as a response to these shootings. I have spent time in my career working in gun violence, and I know that there are witnesses and victims who do not come forward, and for very legitimate reasons. But I would be remiss if I did not ask for the public's help if you have information related to any of these incidents to come forward and help us apprehend these individuals. Our team will continue to investigate these, as I mentioned, and we will use all of the latest techniques available to us, including our new ability to analyze ballistics. We also ended 2019 with 52 deaths related to traffic crashes. We are working as a police bureau on ways to enhance our enforcement and improve traffic awareness. But we are also working with our other bureau partners on different aspects like improved lighting, sidewalks, crosswalks, and street design. But this is also my plea to the community, to hold yourselves and those around you accountable, to not drive under the influence, to not speed and obey our traffic laws, and to, whether you're a pedestrian, a driver, or a bicyclist, to not be distracted. As a community, we can help solve these traffic-related problems. Our staffing remains at a critical level. We do anticipate more retirements in 2020. However, I am pleased to say that our personnel division has made enhancements that is making the process more streamlined, and we are hiring officers at a faster rate. And we are hiring excellent, qualified individuals. I had the pleasure of meeting 4 brand new Portland police officers this morning and 1 new public safety support specialist. They are all fantastic. I'm super excited, as the rest of the Bureau, to welcome them to our family, and I'm sure that they will do a fine job representing us. I will continue also to support the health and the welfare of our officers, urging them to keep a positive work-life balance, especially at a time when we're stretched so thin. It has been demonstrated that a law enforcement's dedication to wellness positively impacts every aspect of the job. And on another positive note, the mayor mentioned, the Compliance Officer Community Liaison found the Portland Police Bureau in substantial compliance with the DOJ, the Department of Justice Settlement Agreement. Though we still have work to do, this is a very positive step, and I look forward to continuing that and to becoming in full compliance. My expectation as chief is for those within the organization to uphold our values. We must remain accountable, transparent, and continue to improve our trust within the community. I believe we will achieve success with our partners, and I will be a collaborative chief. I will continually ask people to come to the table to work better and more efficiently together. 2020 is an election year, and we will anticipate demonstrations, and that collaboration is exactly what I'm talking about, and it's going to be greatly needed. I ask for patience. Even though I've been in the chief's office for a couple years, I am new to this role, and before I can accept some of the invitations already coming from the community, I will need a little time to settle in. But I make a pledge that I will try to be out in the community as much as possible. I'd like to thank the members of our executive team, Deputy Chris Davis, Assistant Chief Ryan Lee, Andy Shearer, and Mike Fromm. I've worked with each of you for many years, and I respect your dedication to the Bureau and to the community. And I would also like to thank each member of the Portland Police Bureau. I know how hard you work every day. I know your compassion, and I know your integrity, and I will do my best to highlight you every chance I get. I'm excited to lead an organization that I am proud of, and I thank you.
Thank you, Chief. We have time for a few questions, so we can go ahead and begin. And again, if you would introduce yourself and say which outlet you represent.
Lachey Wesley with K2 News. This is a question for you, Police Chief. With demonstrations planned and expected in this year, what approaches do you think have worked in the past, and what do you hope to see moving forward?
Well, I think as you noticed in one of our last protests, we drew on almost every resource that we had available to us, and that included reaching out to other agencies, our bureau partners, and really coming together as a city to determine the best approach to that. And that was our most effective that we had been. We had every resource available to us, and I think you will see that more and more, where we're reaching out. We're not trying to do it on our own. We're trying to gather as much information as we can ahead of time and really establish whose responsibility is what as we move through it. So I think you will see that more and more. You'll see a more collaborative approach, including other city bureaus, other agencies. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Chief.
Behind you. Sorry,
Yeah.
Lisa was first. That's right.
Chief Lisa Valick with Coin Channel
Yes.
6. Question for you. When you look back at the past year and what you've learned from the chief, is there anything that you find that you take away that is significant, and also on the other side, anything you take away that you would like to do that wasn't being done?
As far as significant, there were a lot of things that Chief Outlaw did exceptionally well. And I tried to learn from her as much as I could while she was here. She was very articulate in her public speaking. She bonded well immediately with people. They got an instant sense from her that she was compassionate about her job and her relationships that she had with community, and I would like to continue that. I think that people wanted more relationships with her, and I hope to be able to provide that and to continue that.
And then what about on the flip side, something that wasn't there that you think you will bring to the table?
I think having been here for as long as I have been, it'll be 21 years in February that I've been here, I might be able to move some of these relationships farther quicker, just because I already have the relationship. So I would like to see that. I would like to see some things change a little faster as far as like our ability to build trust within the community with different groups and things like that. I think I might have the ability to do that.
Can you tell us a little bit about what drew you into law enforcement? I see you attended University of Portland and was a minor in philosophy or
Psychology.
psychology.
Not philosophy. Yeah, yeah.
Psychology, allied health sciences, is that right? But what
yes.
drew you to law enforcement? Did you grow up in Portland? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I grew up in the Beaverton area. I graduated from Beaverton High School. I'm not originally from Oregon. I'm originally from Montana, but I have spent the majority of my life here. Quite honestly, law enforcement was not something that I originally aspired to do. I did graduate from University of Portland with an allied health science degree with the idea that someday I would be a doctor. However, that did not work, and back in 1999, the Portland Police Bureau did a big push to hire officers once again, and I was part of Operation 80. I don't know if you remember that, but I was part of that large group that was hired then. And in all honesty, it was something that I did almost to see if I could at the time when I applied. I had never been on a ride-along. I had never shot a gun. I had never done anything related to police work, but when I applied and they hired me and I started going through training, I loved it. And I've been here, like I said, almost 21 years.
Well, what's been the highlight of your career so far? I mean, what assignment did you enjoy the most?
What assignment did I enjoy the most? I actually think probably being the night shift lieutenant at East Precinct was the assignment that I enjoyed the most. It was a lot of fun. It was a great group of officers. I think, had the opportunity to make some impacts in East Precinct. You know, when you think about night shift, there's not a lot of people out and about, so that the people that you do interact, you have the ability to have an impact on. The best part about this job, 100% hands down, is the people. The people who work for the police bureau, the people I've got to meet, the friendships that I've made. You know, when everybody retires from the police bureau, that's what they miss the most. And I know that that's what I'll miss the most when I do leave, which is not going to be anytime soon. Like I said, I have 5 years left here, and I would love to spend every last one of them standing right here in this position. Yes. Oh, who?
Yeah, Alex Zielinski with the Portland Mercury.
Yeah.
You mentioned your interest in kind of building and strengthening relationships with the community that are already there.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what community groups would you say know you best at this point, or have you worked with the most extensively? You could, speak to maybe how you are as a leader.
Right. So I've been a part of the Slavic Advisory Council, and I've also been a part of the Muslim Advisory Council. I've also worked with Catholic Charities on our refugee resettlement program and how the Bureau works with those individuals. So if you would like to talk to any of those groups, I would be happy to put you in contact with them. There's a couple of them in the room.
We had a question.
I'm Brittany Falkers, KGW. This is actually a question for Mayor Wheeler. You're talking about the hiring process a little bit, and you've received some criticism about transparency. Can you tell us a little bit about why there wasn't an open process in hiring a new chief?
There's a lot going on right now at the Police Bureau. We have the budget is already in play, and I think everybody understands this is a critical budget. We are at a delicate point in reaching substantial compliance with the U.S. Department of Justice settlement agreement, and we are entering contract negotiations with the Portland Police Association. I made an executive decision because I've had my eye on Chief Resch for quite some time. As the deputy chief, I've already developed a working relationship with her. I know what she's capable of. I know she has the trust of the command staff. She's trusted by the rank and file. As she's indicated, she also has the trust of the community. She can work with the city commissioners. So from my perspective, I already knew her, I already trusted her, and I believe she's the best person for the job. That's why I made the decision that I did.
Chief Kelsey Watts from Channel 12. Just wanted to get back to gun violence. I know you mentioned that in your remarks today. Do you think that the creation of the gun violence reduction team is working? Is that an approach that you want to continue with under your leadership?
Yes, absolutely. So the approach to gun violence is it's kind of a three-pronged approach. And for those people who have been in the Bureau or have heard our gun violence reduction team members speak at other community events, you may have heard this before. But it really is a three-pronged approach, and we have to start with our communication, our education, and our outreach. That's where it all starts, right? And then our gun violence reduction team does this. They go to as many community events as they can and try to provide resources and education to those who may be affected by gun violence. And then also the second prong would be basically like the investigative approach. However, this is only after an event has occurred, right? We only investigate after an event has occurred, and that really limits us. We already have victims. We may already have a suspect. We already have witnesses. We already have families that are affected at this point. The trauma has already occurred, and realistically, that's a very limiting factor for anybody who may be considered a suspect at that point, because once we take that person into custody, that moves on through the course of the justice system. The third prong, and probably the most important that I think, is the proactive police work prong of the gun violence reduction team. And that's where they go out and they try to intercept those individuals before the violence occurs, right? We try to find out those who may be affected. We want to try to identify those who are most at risk for becoming either a suspect or a victim, because if we can get there ahead of time, we can prevent things. There's more resources available to people who have not committed a crime than there are to people who have. So what we need are all the tools available to us, right? We need the ability to identify those who are most at risk, not only of becoming a suspect, but more importantly, those who are, that we feel are at risk of becoming victims, to offer them services to try to find a way out of this. And then as far as like, if there is somebody who we feel could possibly be a suspect, there's more options available to them. It's not like just you're just going to go to jail, right? If we get somebody, like let's say for an unlawful possession charge, we may be able to work on different measures, different aspects for their family. There's less trauma that occurs prior to an event occurring. So it's really important, and I know I'm kind of rambling on a little bit about this, and I would be happy to talk more about it, but the proactive police work and using all of the tools that we have available to us, I think is the most important. And we are investigating all of the shootings now, and not that we weren't before, but our gun violence reduction team is specifically dedicated to those.
Bob Foster from Channel 2. So with gun reduction, I don't know what this is for, but you know, there's always the talk of a gun buyback program, get the guns off the street.
Mm-hmm. And I think we have done those in the past. I would have to ask if we've considered doing those again in the future and how effective we think they would be. But yeah, it's something we could look into.
So there's no current plans now? There's no current plans now.
Not that I'm aware of, no.
I think we had, was there anybody else who hasn't asked a question? Okay, Maxine had.
I have one for the chief and one for the mayor. Chief, where do you stand on body cameras? Is there still a move to, I know Chief Outlaw had wanted to get a pilot project underway, and that's been sitting for some time.
Yeah.
I am very supportive of body-worn cameras. And I know that we are still working towards developing a policy so that if we are given the opportunity to do that pilot, that we're ready to do it when the opportunity presents itself. I think that it's something that's fully supported by the officers, and I think it's beneficial for the community as well. I would like to see them.
And Mayor, was there any time during the course of this past year where Chief Outlaw had tried to extend her contract with the city?
I'm not aware of any specific time that she's tried to extend her contract with the city. I am aware of the conversations we had after she notified me that she was going to leave. The timing and the sequence that we've settled on was mutually agreeable. We thought it was in the best interest of Chief Outlaw and in the best interest of the Police Bureau.
Thank you. I just want to say that's all the time we have today. I really appreciate all of you coming and your attention. And, you know, there will be other opportunities down the road, but we welcome Chief Resch, and as she settles in to her new role, we'll have other opportunities for media in the future. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tina.